Hey, Forward Church, I'm sure many of you heard the word on Monday, the good word, that the province has decided to extend its reopening plan to include churches. And when I heard that word, my heart was excited. I am thinking about all of the people, all of the faces, many of you whom I've just been so longing to see and to worship together with. And I know many of you have felt the same way. But as I began to process through that announcement, of fear began to creep into my heart. Maybe fear isn't even the right word. Perhaps the word should be concern. And the concern wasn't about the virus that is still active and still out there, and rightfully we need to think carefully about. It's about a virus that has infected the church since its foundations. It's about a virus that I think is unfortunately peaking at this time in our churches. And that is the virus of division and polarization. I don't think it's an accident that Jesus' prayer for us starts this way in John 17. He says, I don't ask for these only, in that he'd already prayed this truth for the disciples, but also for those who will believe in me through their word. That is, through the word of the apostles. Those of us who are part of the church now, that Jesus prayed this prayer for you and for me. And he prays this, that they may all be one, just as you, Father, are in me and I in you, that they may also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. That Jesus had a strong concern for his church, that they would be one, that they would be united. And you just have to turn on your social media feed or flip on the news to recognize we do not live in a culture that is united. And yet Christ's call for us as a different type of culture, a different type of kingdom, one that reflects the kingdom that is to come, the kingdom of heaven, is that we would be one. There's going to be a lot of opinions about when we should reopen, how we should reopen, what's involved in that reopening. And in that, there is a lot of opportunity for division and discord to begin to set in. And I think there's some wise words from the Apostle Paul to the church in Rome that would instruct us on how to avoid letting matters of opinion become matters of division. He wrote to the church in Rome and he said, as for the one who is weak in faith, welcome him, but not to quarrel over opinions. One person believes he may eat anything, while the weak person may eat only vegetables. Let not the one who eats despise the one who abstains, and let not the one who abstains pass judgment on the one who eats, for God has welcomed him. He goes on to talk about the division between different days of worship. And as I've been reading through those words, I've been thinking about all the various opinions, some of them very strong that many of us hold. Opinions about whether we should rush in and open the doors right away. Should we sing when we come in the doors? What about kids ministry? Should we open the doors to kids ministry before schools are open? Should we have people wear masks, not wear masks? Is it okay if we ask people to get their temperature taken? Are we living in a spirit of fear if we ask us to take any type of safety precautions? And to all of this, I would say those are opinions, and we need to hold them loosely. You may have issues within this that are going to be issues of conscience for you, and I get that. But we need to put those aside for the sake of the other. In another spot, in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, Paul writes to a church in Corinth that found themselves divided. And he said these words. He said, now all things are lawful, but not all things are helpful or beneficial in some translations. All things are lawful, but not all things build up. And then listen to this instruction, because this is the principle that needs to undergird all of our interactions as we think about our own personal opinions. Let one seek his own, let one not seek his own good, but the good of his neighbor. We don't have firm answers right now on exactly what it's going to look like when we reopen. We know that we're excited to do it. We're committed to doing it safely and well, and you're going to hear those words over and over again. But undergirding all of that is a concern that we do it as one body who love one another. And that's going to mean we're going to have to extend grace to one another. We're going to have to recognize there are going to be areas where we may have a strong opinion, but we may be wrong. You have to realize that as leadership, we're probably not going to get every one of these decisions that we make right. And we're going to have to extend grace. We're going to have to extend love, and because we're going to have to put that first and foremost in our engagement with one another. And so, church, I am praying over us the same prayer that Jesus prayed for us, that we would be one as he and the Father are one. That this opportunity for great joy would in no way become a moment of great division in our church. Let's move forward together as a church in a way that models the grace that has been so abundantly bestowed to us as those of us who are followers of Jesus. And let's do everything that we can to hold up the unity of the church through the lens of putting one another first, considering what it may be to love one another and put their interests first and our preferences aside. And if we do that, man, when we gather together, then we will be the type of church that Jesus was praying for, and we will be that answer to his prayers. See you soon, church.